I'm just setting it up, and here we go. Place your bets, people. The grand finals. It's going to be a best of 5 ZvP between herO and Solar. And how is this going to go? I have to wonder, because historically, for the past couple of months, we have seen herO in this matchup, and he hasn't looked that great. Not compared to the other top tier Protoss players. So this is where he's been struggling the most. But has he been able to overcome that in the new year, in 2022? Like, can he overcome his weaknesses here?
Yeah, and I think of all of the regular or even semi-regular Zerg players who do sign up for ESL Open Cup Asia, herO specifically probably has the best chance against Solar, because he is the most vocal Zerg player in Korea about his distaste for the ZvP matchup. So if there was ever a Zerg player that herO could beat, maybe Solar, but at the same time, Solar has been he's been looking a lot more in form in the past month or so than he has throughout most of 2021.
Yeah, I think the problem that I have with herO ZvP, it's not a problem. It's just stylistically, he's very different compared to Zess. Like, when I think of peak ZvP, I think of like the slow, methodical, very intentional style of Zess, where he expands and he uses the minimal units possible. He can hit certain timings.
See, when I think of peak ZvP, I also think of Zess, but I think of the Adept into DT build into Archons, right? Where he builds those Adepts and then he quickly takes out a mineral line and then he quickly transitions to DTs, which hopefully they don't have detection, but even if they do, then he just turns them into Archons, and what is their player going to do at that point?
Yeah,
That's my peak PVZ.
Hashtag not in this meta.
Unfortunately. Alright then, well, regardless, we are going to be kicking off our best of 5 grand finales here. Everybody get your predictions in. Who is going to take this series? Is it gonna be a blue Zerg player spawning in the bottom right-hand corner map, spawning all the way in the bottom right-hand corner? We, of course, have a blue Zerg player coming out from the land of Korea. He's going to be representing KZ Gaming, KZG. He is Solar.
And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Curious Minds LE, we have the South Korean Protoss player. He is red, representing Dragon Phoenix Gaming, DPG. It is herO.
I'm just thinking of other like really peak PvZ styles from separate eras. And obviously this hasn't been in the meta for a very, very long time, but back in the day, Heart of Swarm, one of the best PvZ styles you really do was, if you learned how to use Blink Stalkers effectively enough, there's almost nothing a Zerg player could do, right? And that's not the meta anymore for obvious reasons. It's a little bit easier nowadays for the Zerg player rather to counter that, but I kind of miss that micro-intensive style.
Yeah, fun fact, we had a bit of a resurgence of that style in I want to say at the end of 2020, around 2020. If you remember Stats before he went to the military,
yeah,
he was going for this like +1 Blink Stalker style with disruptors, and he was finding a lot of success with it. Like, he was doing really well with it, but there was like a couple month period where that happened before SkyToss took over.
Pretty much. Man, yeah, once Stats went to the military, there was nothing. There was no one in Korea to really say, yeah, you don't need to do all of these really slow styles to play defensively, right?
Yeah, exactly. But here we are in 2022, and we'll see how things go. So I was just quickly checking Wikipedia, because we've casted these two in the finals of ESL Open Cup Asia recently. It was yes, both 104 and 105. And in 104, Solar 3-0'd. I remember that one. Because we were so hyped, and then we got to the finals, and it was a stomp. And in 105, the week after, Solar won 3-1. So herO was able to take a game there.
So if we're following the pattern here, what should happen is Solar will win 3-2.
Yeah. Maybe. Again, we've casted these two play recently a decent amount of times, and again, it's one of those things where herO does need to reapproach this matchup, rethink it. If I remember correctly, he was playing a lot with Glaive Adepts, actually.
Yeah.
And with varied success.
Well, he was playing with Glaive Adepts because that was the meta just before he went into the military.
True. Not wrong.
Yeah, I remember at that point we recognized that herO hadn't quite adapted to the Sky Toss style yet. Like, he adapted pretty quickly to using Phoenixes and whatnot in PvT and all these other matchups, but yeah, something about the current PvZ meta is just not something herO likes to play into.
Yeah, meanwhile, he looks like he has accepted it, but on Curious Minds, Monka S is what I want to say.
Yeah.
He is going for one Void Ray straight into a Fleet Beacon, straight into a second Stargate, so there are a couple ways he can pull this off. I imagine this is straight for Tempest, but he could go into Carriers. It can be really difficult to really pull this off, because Curious Minds, mate, your third base is so wide open, it can be so difficult to get them up and running, but Tempests are a great way to defend said third.
Yeah, well, against certain units, right? A Ling Flood is still going to be able to kill the Nexus before the Tempest can really siege down the Lings, but you don't see Ling Floods too often anymore in ZvP.
Yeah, exactly. Ling Queen walks are a thing, but I don't think we're going to see that here. Meanwhile, Lings do get across the map. They're trying to find a way in. Do see that, hey, there's no shield battery behind the Adept, but it decided to go towards the third anyway, but we do have Adepts here to defend. Oh my god, Lings almost get us around.
Close, but no cigar. Void Ray will be able to help defend even more. One Adept will go down, but herO will keep his third base.
That he will. What's important, though, is that these Tempests have been hidden this entire time. We're going to see 4 of them, and especially with this upgrade, Tempest, they can go across the map, they can focus down Queens. More importantly, they can kill hatcheries insanely quickly. So their goal is to maybe get a kill on the third, maybe get a kill on the main.
Yeah, kill a couple of bases, recall back. I think this is probably the first time I actually saw a Protoss player double down on this and get the building damage upgrade this early on. Solar is well aware that Tempests are coming his way now, but how does he prepare against Tempests? I mean, if herO positions them well enough, the Queens are not going to be able to target them at all.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you have to wait with the Queens, and you have to make sure that these Tempests actually get onto creep, so that you can chase them down, right? Like, if they're on the edge, then the Tempests, they can just out-micro you for days. Spores are being thrown down, Lair is done, Spire is on the way for those Corruptors, and so far, the Transfuses have been on point. So far, not a single Queen has died.
So far as the energy is about to run out. Meanwhile, beautiful Ling run by. There's nothing defending back at home. herO tried to fight with his probes, but it ain't working out too well for him. Some of these air units getting very badly bruised. The chargelets, I mean, they're meant to really distract Queens more than anything, but Solar, he's still targeting down the Tempest. He knows what he needs to focus on.
Yeah, and what's important is that the Queens are out of energy. They've all spent their transfuses, but it doesn't matter because 7 Corruptors are in production. He has bought enough time for his Corruptors, for his Spire, and he crippled the economy of herO.
I'm hoping this isn't how it ends. I was so hyped to see this Tempest style come out. But it really doesn't look like herO has an answer to these Corruptors. He has what, 1 Void Ray? Okay, he's got 4 Void Rays.
One of the Tempests immediately falls. The Corruptors are coming out one after the other. Solar, he wants a fight. He wants to dive on top of this. The Void Rays will activate their Prismatic Alignments, but is it going to be enough?
Well, he activates the Prismatic Alignment, but unfortunately he activates them right on top of the Queens, so... Yeah, the Queens actually do get a decent snipe, but I'm liking this a lot from herO. He transitioned very quickly into getting a ton more Void Rays.
He did.
So.
But the problem is that, you know what, Prismatic Alignment, now it's not available. The Corruptors, they can just A-move, they can just target down every single one of these units, and there's nothing to stop them. They're just far too beefy, and just like that, this Tempest opening didn't pay for itself. He wasn't able to break him. He wasn't able to break Solar.
Yeah, I forgot how much better of an economy Solar had here. Even though he was losing a couple of Corruptors here and there, he could just reproduce them much, much quicker than herO could kill him.
Exactly. This Tempest style, I mean, we've seen it before. We've seen SOS do it. We've seen Parting do it as well, famously on 2000 Atmospheres. And the reason why I bring up 2000 Atmospheres is that this can work on much larger maps where counterattacks take that much longer, where you can make use of dead air and, again, abuse the main base a little bit more. herO, though, instead did this differently. He added on Zealots, and he wanted to just brute force his way through the third base. But that's where all the queens were. You have to recognize, especially when you have air units, hey, all these queens are here at the third. Just rotate around and go into the main. It takes queens so long.
Look at how defensive the main is.
Yeah.
One Spore Crawler.
Exactly. Like, make use of your mobility, and sure, Tempests aren't the fastest thing, but like, again, herO, he assumed that he could break through the third base, and he almost did, but in the end, he just didn't.
Yeah, I mean, the third base is a little bit bruised. It's on about half health. I really like the idea that herO went for this game, where it was going to use the ground army to distract the queens while the Tempest chipped away, but yeah, the execution definitely left something to be desired, and now Solar's overwhelming. GG. He takes game number 1.
GG, well played. A bit of a cheeky build by herO. You could argue that maybe we should have hyped it up a little bit more, but like, man, I looked at it and I was like, man, this is a build from 6 months ago. You know, this is 6+ months ago. Like this,
we would have hyped it a lot more if not for the PTSD.
If not for the fact that when this was in the meta, do you remember it never worked?
Exactly. If somebody like bonked me on the head and I got amnesia for the past like 3 years or something, I would have been super hyped to see this. I was like, oh my god, what is it? Oh, he's a madman. But I still have those very painful memories of this not working at all. Yeah. So, yeah.
Less than a year ago, when this was a little bit more common, every single time we're like, okay, is it gonna work this time? Like every single
time we would see like a slight variation. So it was like, oh, Seth's figured out this build, or Parting figured out this build. And it's like, nope, no, they didn't.
It's always one of those things where if they don't deal enough damage by the time the Corruptors come out, then the Zerg just completely shut it down. We've even seen more dominant performances, but I think we saw Dark. Once he gets the Corruptors out, he pushes away all the Tempests, and then he just goes across the map and he just pisses down Nexus. Like, yeah.
Yep. Oh boy. Well, I appreciate that we did see something a little bit different here from herO, and you know, it's better than seeing herO just keel over and die in a PvZ, but we'll see. He does need to pull off something a bit more effective, let's say. As we continue our series on Hotwire LE, we're in the bottom left-hand corner map, spawning all the way in the bottom left-hand corner. We have a blue Zerg player coming out from the land of Korea. He is going to be representing KZ Gaming. KZG is the brightest of the pro gamers. He is Solar.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Hardwire LE, we have the South Korean Protoss player. He is red, representing Dragon Phoenix Gaming, DPG. Oh, having a rough game number 1, but it's a best of 5. Do not worry, it's the grand final. Still plenty more games to go. It is herO.
Okay.
All right. Here we go. Yep. Okay, so we've seen straight into Tempest from herO. What are we gonna see now? How does he pivot away from that? And will we see more Void Rays, or are we gonna see, I don't know, like a Glaive Adept opener?
That's what I'm hoping for. But I'm hoping it works too. So it's just fall flat on space. Solar's like, oh yeah, no, I remember this build, and gets a couple of roaches out, and that's the end of that.
Like, I just want Hero to take a game.
Yeah.
Oh god. Our power is going to Hero right now. What's he going to do with it? So far, did force the unnatural natural as being a little bit annoying, little bit annoying with this probe. And you could argue maybe this can lead towards Glaive Adept. The biggest problem is that Glaive Adepts were so prominent for such a long period of time, where a Zerg player like Solar, like, I mean, he should be able to defend against Glaive Adepts with his eyes closed. Like, it's like he's dealt with it so many times at this point, right?
Pretty much. He just needs to rely on that. What is it called? Tactile feeling?
Muscle memory?
Muscle memory. Yeah, there we go. What is the tactility that you would feel with adepts? Is what I want to know.
Exactly. Meanwhile, Hero is not going for a Twilight Council opening, so it is not going to be Adepts. He does go for that stock standard Stargate for that Void Ray first, and we'll see where he goes from here. If he doubles down and goes for a Fleet Beacon again, second Stargate, or even a Twilight Council.
Yeah, to be determined. As I am just keeping my eyes on that production tab for now, Solar realizes, yeah, you know, there's not a whole lot I have to worry about. I've got my eyes on you with my overlords. I'm just going to drone up while I can and worry about what's to come.
Yeah, pretty much. He's just chilling here across the map. Solar, he does have a couple of overlords set up, but nothing directly outside the main, so we can't really go into scout. But eventually, there we go, the Void Ray reveals itself, and now Solar is aware of at least the first Stargate.
It's already getting ready. I mean, Spore Crawler already set up in the main base. He's getting ready for the third base as well.
Yep, he's got his spores, he's got his queens, he pushes this away. What's interesting is that Hero did go for a Oracle after this, so he's gonna try and rely on a little bit more of that probe damage, and ooh, behind this, he does throw down a second Stargate.
Alrighty then, taking a little bit of a page off of Zeth's book. And by that I mean, you know, playing standard.
True. No Fleet Beacon this time.
Not yet, anyway. He's gonna be relying on Void Rays for the most part. Very quick morph from a drone to a Spore Crawler there for Solar. This could have been a lot worse for him.
Yep, the two Adepts only got 2 drones for their troubles. Meanwhile, the Oracle goes into the main base, but Solar has eyes on everything. He does pull away, and the stasis trap doesn't go off on his workers.
I forgot that you could reveal stasis wards with Spore Crawlers. Yeah. Doesn't even need to pop it. Doesn't waste a single drone on that.
Meanwhile, that was so close. He almost gets eaten up, but the shield battery finishes up just barely in time to keep it alive. And yeah, as you were saying, standard meta ZvP. +1 air attack. We've got, I think I saw a Forge. Yep, we got a Forge as well. Hero just doing Protoss things.
Yeah.
Oh.
So asking for a quick break here. Or a quick pause, rather.
Yeah, maybe his menu log just rocked up at home. Some Uber Eats.
Exclamation mark menu pog in the chat. I think the code actually expired by now.
The code expired a year ago, mate. What do you?
Did anyone use it?
I didn't use mine. I had like 2 codes, and then by the time I used it, it expired in October of 2020.
Oh no!
And it was like January.
2020. Oh.
Yeah, it was like January 2021. I was like, all right, let's go. Let's get some menu. Oh, never mind.
Feels bad. You're on 20% off on your Guzman y Gomez.
See. Oh god. Meanwhile, here we go. The Void Rays are pushing out across the map. 4 of them, but the Queens are already in position. Plenty of energy for Transfuse. Meanwhile, Solar. I love this. I don't love this. Hero gets a pretty pog stasis trap off.
Here the cleaning bot is trapped in all those, in between all of those drones.
Oh no.
Trying to get out of there.
Unfortunately, he's a little bit stuck. Meanwhile, we have a little bit of a depth harass. I say a little bit. Oh my god, look how many drones have fallen.
7. I can count.
Damn.
quite a lot. Solar is at the point of the game where he wants to be producing a lot more army. He wants to let this Spire finish up so he can get mutas or corruptors out, or literally any military unit, but he's being forced to remake his drones over and over and over and over again. Finally, he's getting a couple of infestors out, though. I like it.
Yeah, we'll see how this goes, especially because we've talked about it before when Solar goes up against Trap or Zest, about how he really struggles in this matchup and how he wants to avoid the late game, but maybe he's feeling a little bit more confident against herO, as he's here and he is going straight to the Hive. Meanwhile, nice pickups, herO does snipe both gases.
The most important resource right now for herO, especially when you're going Spire like this. When you're going Spire Infestor, I suppose I should say.
Oh yeah, like this kind of army composition, it does take a lot of gas to work with, and Solar is still not there, especially with this Hive. Like, he wants to get into Vipers, he wants to start working on his Spore Forest, like he's going full late game, but he's not there yet, and herO is meeting him in kind. But without losing workers is probably the big difference.
Not losing workers, okay, but he is still expanding, so yeah, he is well caught up, and I would say even ahead of Solar right now, at least in the base count.
That's Solar just now trying to take his 5th base. He's still lacking when it comes to Corruptors, just now he's starting Corruptor production. Honestly, it's pretty efficient of Solar, there's no big engagement, so why waste resources on Corruptors when you need to gather energy on your Infestors and your Vipers and tech up? As we can see, like, Solar is getting every single upgrade and every single tech building.
Yeah, he's just checking off the list here. And I appreciate this from Solar, is that he's not being too aggressive with his run-bys and whatnot, but maybe he should, because now he's about to lose his Hive. Come on, Transfuse! Transfuse! Could not keep that Hive alive.
Split, Bobby,
Solar
split!
at least gets the Parabomb, but yeah, that's hardly much of a consolation, is it?
Feels bad, man. At least Solar was able to get his Vipers out before the Hive was sniped. Otherwise, that would have been like a herO move from herO. Like, that would that would have been disastrous for Solar. But thankfully,
keep going from there, yeah.
Exactly. Thankfully, he already had his Ultra Cavern as well. What Solar's really missing right now, and I think he's kind of recognizing it, he needs a Spore Forest. Right now, he's got like a Spore, like a tree line, maybe? Like,
yeah. Like a park.
Maybe a park, yeah. A lot of open space for your doggos and for your kids to run around in. But a Spore Forest.
But not enough for them to get lost in.
Exactly. We need them to get lost. Oh god, hero's pushing. Hero's pushing out, but maybe a little bit prematurely. He only has 2 carriers behind this army.
Yeah, but he's okay. Actually, no. I was looking at it wrong. I was looking at the wrong supply. Solar's a player who's about to get maxed out, or would be, if not for those infestors, very high energy infestors going down.
Yeah, there was some very greedy but very worthwhile purification novas going off on those infestors. Meanwhile, Solar is trying to catch whatever he can. At any moment, one of those carriers is left alone. He will go for the yoink. But this Corruptor is also feeling really lackluster. I was praising him earlier for avoiding Corruptors and not making them needlessly, but now, like, he needs them.
Yeah, I feel like Solar may have made too many Ultralisks here. Now, you want to have a couple so you can deal with the High Templar in particular underground, but you don't need 4 of them, do you?
Oh my god. Never thought I'd see the day the Ultras get surrounded by Zealots. There's still 2 Ultras here. Ooh, decent fungals.
Plus the Parabomb that is really taking out about half of the health of the Sky Army. Almost everything is taken out. I mean, almost all of the Void Rays, and now there are only a handful of carriers left. But what about the Zealots? There's still a couple of Banelings here. But not enough of a buff for them, it seems.
Yeah, just barely. Solar is holding on, but we have another Warp in. The Warp Prism is here, and the Zealots are coming in droves. They do close the distance. The Archons are coming into play as well. And what is the answer to all these Archons?
There isn't one, at least not yet. A lot of them are shaved off by the Ultras, but there's still enough of them to pose a threat to these Corruptors. All Solar wants is to pounce on top of these carriers, but the Archons keeping them covered from the ground.
Yeah, the Archons are just chasing those Corruptors down. It's insane. It's it's not something you see too often. In the end, herO did kind of, I would say he did win that fight. Oh no, he caught the Corruptors! No!
Now it's secured.
Oh my god, a single Corruptor survived that engagement. What I will say is that because herO oh my god, no, never mind. Every single Corruptor was sniped. He did waste a lot of time going for those Corruptors, so because of that, the economy of Solar was left untouched, but it doesn't even matter!
GG. Solar recognizes that there's way too much Protoss to deal with, and herO ties us up sideways 1-1. It's best of 5. That's what we want to see.
GG, well played. I wanted to point out that there is one tech structure that Solar didn't get before his hive was sniped, and that was the Greater Spire. So without a Greater Spire, you don't get Broodlords. Without Broodlords, you don't have that other air unit as your anti-ground kind of anchor point to help keep those Archons at bay. He just he couldn't rebuild it fast enough, or he couldn't get it fast enough.
That he really could not. With that, I mean, he had to rely so much on Lings, which really aren't going to do too much against all those Archons. Banelings, yeah, they did their job against the charge lots. But again, what about the Archons? Had to rely on Ultras, and that's an anti-High Templar unit, right? More than anything else. It's pretty much useless in most other scenarios.
I mean, the Ultras, they were doing their best, you know, they were doing what they could, and they did kill some of the Archons, but not all of them, and we saw what 2 Archons could do. Like, sure, there was this massive, or I say massive, there was a decent Corruptor army left over towards the end, but they couldn't really achieve much on their own. Also, leading up to that big fight, we were talking about it, there wasn't a Spore Forest to help support the Corruptors as well. There was still some things lacking there for Solar.
Yeah, too much deforestation. Oh, yes, no. What's the pre-deforest? Look, I don't know. That wasn't even a forest to deforest. That's what I'm gonna say. But anyway, that is irrelevant because now we're gonna be continuing our series on Berlingrad LE. We're in the bottom right-hand corner map, spawning all the way in the bottom right corner. We have a blue Zerg player coming down from the land of Korea. He is without a doubt the brightest of the pro gamers, representing KZ Gaming. KZG. He is Solar.
And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Berlingrad LE, we have the South Korean Protoss player. He is red, representing Dragon Phoenix Gaming, DPG. Tying up that series 1-1 in this best-of-5 grand finals, it is herO. Oh boy.
You know, you were mentioning this. We were mentioning this a couple of times before. How when herO did come back from the military, and PvZ in particular, it was pulling off a lot of Glaive to Death builds. There was never a map to utilize that. But Leningrad is the one.
True. Very true. It is quite a small map, all things considered, and maybe herO can take advantage of that. I would hope so. It can be difficult to make Stargate openers work just because queen pushes are that much stronger on this map. We've seen them time and time again topple great Protoss players. But what I will say is that I'm sure Zest is doing a great job at, again, like trying to hone herO skills. I would put it in a nicer way, but sure, yeah, yelling at him. Yeah.
It's like, listen, kid. This is my legacy. So before I leave for the military, I need to make sure that... Actually, I think herO might be older than this. Think about it. He's like, listen, we're both on DPG. You're gonna be the only Protoss player on DPG after I leave. I gotta make sure you know your shit.
Pretty much, mate. Pretty much. hero's like, I've seen things. I've been to Nam, mate. I've been. And Zess is like, hey.
I've been to Nam on holiday.
We're in Korea. Things work differently here, okay? It's not the same. I don't care what Miyamika
Whoever
did to
this
you.
Whoever this Miyamika fella is, get him out of your brain.
Oh,
we do things differently here. It's like, yeah, I went to Nam. I went to Nam on holiday. I have the selfies on Twitter to prove it. Oh no, I'm thinking of classic.
Oh god. Well, hero is going for a Stargate opener, but again, it is simply an opener. From here, we have seen many Protoss players go into Twilight Council after said Void Ray, so it is still possible for him. Meanwhile, ooh, nice snipe. Hero does take out the Creep Tumor.
Dude! That's a Protoss equivalent of killing the tumor with your Reaper. It's always a, nice little morale boost at the start of the game.
Yeah, it's great, honestly. It does slow a lot of things down for the Zerg player. And we'll see if that's going to come into play here. Meanwhile, ooh, nice surround as well from Solar. Is able to snipe that Adept. But Hero isn't doing anything too crazy before throwing down another tech building. He does go for a faster third Nexus.
Yeah, one that Solar does not confirm yet. Hero should be able to get away with this for a little while longer.
Oh!
Before he has to start fortifying it. There's that Twilight Council instead of a fleet beacon. We are getting a much more ground-focused army from Hero this game.
Yes, we are. This is where first the Oracle is dealing a little bit of damage, but doesn't get too much. Solar's on top of it. How many gases are going to be taken? Okay, we do have a third gas here at the natural base. I don't think this is going to be charged. It is not charged. It is indeed those Glaive Adepts.
You'll love to see it. Oh, dude. Hero doing hero things pretty much.
Yeah, and I love this because the Lings of Solar check the natural base. They do get pushed away, and they confirm, hold up, the Cybercore is researching. That is +1 air attack. It's got to be double Stargate, right?
Maybe, but not yet.
Wrong, mate, wrong. It's the Adepts, and right now they're here, they're at home, they're hidden. There's no Overlord to scout them or anything.
Just shading around. Getting ready. The Link somehow breaks through. The wall is not a wall, and he should be able to confirm the Twilight Council, but at this point, it's a little bit too late to stop all of these Adepts. He can still work from here.
Yeah, exactly. As the Adepts do commit to the shade, there are not enough links to stop them. Roaches are in production, though. Again, he made Roaches as soon as he saw that Twilight Council, so he is trying to get ready. Throws down an Evo Chamber to try and stop the pathing of these Adepts, and so far, he hasn't lost too much.
And honestly, the Roaches are already in position. Only 3. Okay, now a couple more drones start to fall, but yeah, so are a lot of these Adepts.
Oh god, exactly. The Adepts are being cleaned up, but they did get the damage done. We thought, hold on, the Roaches are going to come out, the SimCity is looking okay. Solar is not going to lose too much, but 13 drones go down. Yeah,
that, if nothing else, is enough to pay for all of these Adepts. Enough to pay for the cost of all of these Adepts. Could have still been a lot worse for Solar, but this is already not the ideal start for our Blue Zerg player. Okay, 21, 22, yeah, okay. This is enough damage. This is definitely enough damage for Hero.
Yaku, make him stop. The Adepts, they just keep on going. 22 drones, mate. 22.
22. That's 2 2s.
That's older than you, mate.
That actually is. Not 22 yet.
Oh my god, 22 for the new year as Hero behind this. What is he doing? He's working on Immortals. You know why? For that Roach counterattack. Speaking of Roaches, he's also going to be working on Disruptors for those Purification Novas. And he just doesn't stop with those Adepts.
How does he get even more damage done here? He's target firing so well. Ah, man, we're at the point where Solar cannot just catch back up on worker count. He has to do some counter damage.
Yeah, yeah. He's being forced all in. I want to say he's being forced all in, but he's making more drones. He wants to catch back up, which is an insane premise. Like, after losing 22 workers, more than 30? 22 plus the 8 that we just saw, plus however many are going to die from these two adepts. Like, it's
plus
too
the
much.
drone at the start of the game.
Yeah, like, you can't recover from this.
35 in total so far, anyway. So far being the key phrase here. Then we got even more lost mining time because the Oracle wasn't dealt with. The Oracle actually killing even more drones somehow.
Yeah, 7 in total in the end. And again, the worrisome thing behind this is that we have a second robotics facility. We have all these immortals. We have disruptors. Oh wait, he's actually not. He's making Colossus.
Well, yeah, because he has to worry about the Link still, right? So he has his anti-roach units, the immortals, and then he has the anti-Ling units. Yeah, makes sense.
Why not, mate? Why not? Just get everything. Just get it all, mate.
And Solar still decides, I'm gonna out-macro you from here, which I'm not sure that's even possible, buddy.
Yeah, he's still just droning up. And to be fair, he has caught up in drones, but that's because he's been making nothing but drones. That means when a hero decides to counterattack with all of this, Solar, I don't know if he's going to have enough to defend. Maybe he will. Maybe, like...
Maybe. If the transfuses are really on point, but... Yeah, even still. Solar, he may have a larger army, but Hero has a better army.
Exactly. It's so much more high-tech with immortals, with sentries, force fields, Colossus. Solar, though, again, I'm very impressed that he's been able to catch back up, but there's a couple of caveats to that, right? Like, his upgrades aren't amazing. He's working on 1-1. He isn't looking towards getting a hive or anything like that. Like, he's very much stuck on lair tech at the moment. Is it going to be enough? We'll see.
Yeah, Solar right now is trying to fight on open ground. He knows that the best case scenario for him is to get a full 180 surround on just about everything. Or 360 surround, rather. Yeah, but a 180 surround is still going to be pretty good for him.
Huh?
He'll take whatever he can get. As long as it's a surround. Surround, yeah.
Exactly. Meanwhile, something that you could criticize Hero for is that he is not transitioning into Sky Toss. Instead, he's doubling down even more on Ground Toss. And that is, by many, considered to be a weaker composition in comparison. It doesn't scale anywhere near as well.
And he even finished +1 air weapons a while ago, so... He was always planning to transition to Sky Toss, but... Yeah, now is about the time we see most Protoss players start their transition, but Hero, he just wants to keep doing it with Colossus and Gateway units.
Yeah, instead of throwing down a Fleet Beacon and 2 more Stargates, he doubled down on the Colossus production. He's getting a 4th, he's getting a Templar Archives as well for Storm, for Archons. Meanwhile, there's a bit of a Baneling drop headed towards the natural.
Up! Could be just about to start that. Solar needs some very nice Biles land. I don't think they kill much, but they do bruise some of the sentries and whatnot. 20 probes go down. Just like that. Potentially more.
Oh god, no, they turned around, no!
One more connection. 25 probes go down. And look at this full 360 surround for Solar. He has just about brought himself back in this game, and he can still keep going. He's killed almost every single Colossus. He's killed the Immortals. Solar brought himself back from the brink of death.
Banelings just destroyed literally everything that Hero was doing. Again, like, he's the one who decided not to transition to Sky Toss, and he is being punished for it with this mass ground army. High Templar come out, but they can do absolutely nothing. And Solar, despite losing 30 drones, it didn't even matter, mate. He knew what he needed to do. GG. Oh my god.
Solar takes that game. Gets up to match point. I think we unfortunately missed the start of that engager in the middle of the map. Unfortunately, but what was going on with all those sentries is what I want to know, because I saw a couple of force fields, but nowhere near enough of them.
Yeah, exactly. A couple of them were thrown down. I imagine it's because herO was distracted as well by those banelings. Like, that's why he was
That's
controlling his
probably it.
probes and pulling them away, and trying to keep them alive. And that was the moment where Solar pounced on that army, and like, we could kind of see it coming. That's why, like, we were alluding to the fact that, mate, you know, there's a reason why SkyToss is the thing. You know, banelings don't shoot up.
If,
Uh,
I think Solo was very quick to recognize that as well. He sort of realized, you know what, herO, he's being a lot more dedicated to a ground army. And before that big engagement happened, before he even dropped his banelings into that base, you could see that Solo was trying to avoid a fight as long as possible, but was also clearing up as many avenues of attack. He was trying to, set himself up to force herO into a very compromised position, which he did in the end.
yeah.
That's all he really needed to do. And now he just needs un momento por favor to beat herO in another ESL finals.
He does. He does.
Oh boy, oh boy. Alrighty then. We're here. We're going to be continuing our series on 2,000 atmospheres. LE, we're in the... Why do I keep doing this? I switched to your camera, and I switched out of your camera, and I had to figure out which number you were again. Anyway, we're going to be continuing our series now on 2,000 atmospheres LE. We're in the top right-hand corner map, starting all the way in the top right-hand corner. We have a blue Zerg player coming out from the land of Korea. He is representing KZ Gaming. KZG is the brightest, the hottest, the shiniest of the pro gamers. He is Solar.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of 2,000 atmospheres LE, we have the ex-military smiling assassin. He has made his return, but how is his PvZ looking? It needs some work. He did win a game. Can he win another? Can he bring it all the way to the ace match representing Dragon Phoenix Gaming? It is herO.
We've seen a couple of things work out for herO.
We have. Quickly touching on the previous game as well, I wanted to add that typically, like, after you deal all this economic damage with Glaive Adepts, usually it's like a 1-2 punch sort of thing where you come in, you cripple the economy, and then boom, you come in with your immortals, you know, with your disruptors. You come in with a follow-up. But herO, he was just chilling at home, and I'm sure he expected a push to come to him. I imagine that was probably his thought process instead.
Yeah, well, I mean, we were even saying it, right? After Solar took that much damage, there's no way he could macro himself out of this situation, right? There's no way he could catch back up on the economy. He has to go across the map and deal some counter damage, and I'm sure herO was thinking the exact same thing. Yeah. Solar had other plans. Solar, we call him the brightest pro gamer for a reason. He was thinking 50 bajillion steps ahead while we were still in Stone Age.
Exactly, and that's why, like, herO was being as passive as he was with all of his high-tech units. That's why, despite having 4 immortals and a bunch of sentries, he was just chilling at home, and then starts working on his Colossus, and then starts getting a 4th base, and he's just waiting for the Zerg army to show up, so he can just show off how solid his Protoss defense is. And then it didn't, and it never did. And then he pushed out, suddenly he pushed out onto creep, he pushed out into an army of Road Ravager Ling Bane that was just waiting for him the entire time.
Yeah, so it's like, defend this! I can't!
Yeah. Nice moves. Beautiful moves there by Solar in the end to clutch out that victory. And now we are here in 2,000 atmospheres, a much more standard map. And a map that's honestly one of the best maps for SkyToss.
Which is why that's what we're not going to be seeing. Well, potentially. herO is going for double Oracle as an opening, so this sets itself up really nicely for some Void Rays to come out later on and potentially some Flux Veins as well.
Potentially, first Oracle does get across the map, and you're always getting a decent amount of probe kills, sorry, a decent amount of drone kills, but the Queens were here regardless. Do dish out a lot of damage to this Oracle, but it doesn't matter because it's about to meet up with the second Oracle, and herO goes for a Twilight Council again.
Okay. And got a couple more gateways in production as well, so most likely we're going to be seeing another Glaive opening, but, you know, I wouldn't be too surprised if we saw Charge.
Yeah, I imagine it's going to be Glaive as well, just because we don't see a Forge. Like, typically, if it's Charge or even Blink Stalkers, we see a Forge for +1. But we'll see what herO has in store for us. There it is.
Now, I will say that Glaives did do a really good job catching Solar off guard in the previous game. I'm not entirely convinced if that's going to be the case twice in a row.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, some decent moves here from herO. In total, he's killed 7 drones. Looking at the units lost, mate, he's honestly gotten a lot of value, and he hasn't lost a single thing.
Ooh. Nicely done.
Not a bad start, not a bad start. Meanwhile, because of the meta, Solar doesn't have any Overlords. He was afraid that a Void Ray would show up, but he does see the Adepts with the Zonaga, and he should be getting ready. Ooh, but the Roach Warren is nowhere near done.
Oh yeah, this is worrisome. Very, very worrisome. Here we're gonna hit a much quicker timing, much more potent timing too. It's all up to these Lings to be in position to try to get us around while buying time for the Roaches.
Definitely. The Adepts are looking to shade into the third base. The Lings are at the natural, but they do not commit to the shade. Another one of those stasis wards goes off. So far, not too many workers, mainly Queens, have been getting caught in on.
But I do worry that if there are too many Queens in stasis while this is going on, then yeah, Solar will be losing a lot of firepower in his defense.
Oh, but you know what, man? We have some
Utility.
reinforcing Adepts.
And now we should see herO come into a shade.
Yeah, no, now he can just fight the Queens.
Yeah, like so.
Immediately, one Queen does get targeted down. He does not commit to the shade. That would have been a death trap, but instead he goes all the way to that third base. And oh my god, there are so many vulnerable drones.
They're trying to escape, but they cannot. 8 of them will go down. herO secures himself a pretty comfortable lead, all things considered, but Roaches are starting to pop out.
Roaches are in production again, just like last game though. We do have an Immortal on the way. We do have Robotics Bay for those. Again, I imagine Disrupted, maybe Colossus again. I know, but for those Robo units, and herO is getting ready for the transition.
Yeah, he's tightened up so much this game. Be very surprised if he drops it here.
There we go. 2 more Queens go down. Finally, the Lings rock up, but that means they won't be able to chase the shade, but maybe they won't need to because they finally get a surround on the Adepts.
They're going to surround the Adepts, but they don't kill enough of them. Thankfully, there were some Roaches in the back line. Able to deal with that. Another Stasis Ward! Jeez!
The Stasis Wards, they just keep on coming. The Adepts turn around, they're going to get a kill on some of these Roaches, and I love this. herO, he's keeping up the pressure. War Prism is on the way. +1 Blink, he's switching into +1 Blink Stalkers with Immortals, and this is what we wanted from him last time, you know? Keep up that aggression. Keep up the pressure.
Yeah, the only thing I think he's really missing here is sentries, but that's very quickly remedied. herO can, as you say, just keep the pressure on and choke Solar out, or starve Solar out.
Yeah, pretty much. A lot of economic damage has been done, but Solar is stabilizing with all of these Roaches and all of these Lings. This time there is no Baneling Nest, there is no Baneling Speed. Like, ideally herO wants to hit before that comes into play, but at the moment it looks like he's waiting for a couple more Disruptors.
And is Solar even going to go for any Banelings this game? Because he just finished up the Infestation Pit.
True. Very true. Meanwhile, we have a little bit of a Ling run by. It doesn't find too much damage, but he will confirm the Immortals, will confirm the Robos, so he has a better idea of what he's going to be up against. And, oh, we don't see this too often anymore, but Solar, it looks like he wants to go into Hydras and eventually Lurkers.
Interesting. Well, it's definitely a really good way of dealing with a ground toss army, especially if they're a lot more gateway focused. I don't care how well you can blink. Those stalkers are still gonna get shredded by lurkers.
Exactly, and that's why it would be a mistake for herO to let the game go on that long and to wait for Hydra Lurker Viper to come out. And that is why herO, he is now in the face of Solar and he's pushing out across the map with his entire army.
Got a ton of disruptors, but none of Purification Novas really connect with much. He is gaining a lot of ground though, herO is.
Yeah, exactly. He wants to find some damage. He wants to push into one of these bases. He's doing a decent job at pulling Solar apart a little bit. He's trading quite well with these Blink Stalkers. Hasn't really lost too many of them. As we see another warp in another round. And now these disruptors, they've reset their Novas.
Let's wait for right time. One Purification Nova gets a pretty big chunk of Ravagers, honestly. That's a lot fewer Corrosive Biles to work with. Sentries are going to be even deadlier from this position.
Exactly, and mate, that's a lot of Stalkers.
Yeah. Lurkers ain't out yet. Lurker Den ain't even finished.
Exactly, Lurker Den's not finished. The Vipers are on the way, but they're going to need to suck on some buildings and gather that energy, and I don't know if they're going to be able to do that in time.
Yeah, we'll see, we'll see. hero's definitely not making it easy on Solar at all. He's trying his best. A couple of these Biles do connect. One of the Disruptors actually gets taken out by the Biles, so that's at least a little bit of a victory here for Solar, but he needs a lot more of that in order to defend against all of this.
Yeah, and because of the sheer amount of Blink Stalkers and the zoning of the Disruptors, the fourth base gets picked off, and now herO can start focusing on the third. Meanwhile, Lurker Den is done. The first wave of Hydras are coming out, but still no Lurkers.
Yeah, he definitely needs to buy himself a lot more time, but herO ain't looking to give him that time. They may be teammates, but time is on hero's side.
Time is on his side. We see an aggressive blink on forward. The Vipers are out of energy, and are there enough Roaches? No, there are not. And again, the Hydras are coming out, but still zero Lurkers, mate.
It's too little, too late. And maybe if Solar had that fourth base, he could have had enough production to keep going, but he did not. So GG is called, and herO takes us to the ace.
GG, well played. herO, why didn't you do this on Berlingrad? This is what you needed to do. Oh, God. GG.
Because he wanted to give us an ace match, that's why.
Yeah, he wanted to I don't know, man. I'm worried. You were told you predicted the Solar 3-2 earlier. Like,
aha, that's math.
Oh, God.
Yeah, we'll see. It all comes down to this, and I honestly was not expecting this, of all maps, to be our ace.
Yeah, exactly. Here we go. The ace match is going to be on another one of these smaller maps. It is going to be on Blackburn. Again, another map that does kind of lend towards maybe Sky Toss because of the short rushes and Spy Air, but also Queen pushes. So it's hard to say. Do you think we're going to see a goal base there?
Yeah. From herO.
He did do it against Beyond.
There we go.
There we go. But yeah, I mean, shout out to herO that last game. Again, as you said yourself, you know, he did tighten up a lot more compared to Berlingrad. You know, he had a very similar opening, but the follow-up was much, much more solid.
Yeah. More solid, more quick, more power.
Yeah.
Full, more powerful.
He was cutting it close though, like
Was.
Again, like if he had allowed Solar to get those Lurkers, then it would have been a different game. Ugh.
Absolutely, but it was what it was.
Hmm.
On the flip side, maybe you could say if Solar transitioned earlier, but it's a little bit difficult, right? So yeah, it was definitely a herO win.
Yeah, it's
instead of a solo loss.
Yeah. When it comes to Solar side of things, like it was difficult because of how much damage he was taking from those Adepts, right? And why was he taking so much damage from those Adepts? Well, if you recall, he never scouted the Twilight Council at the start of the game, right? Because of the current meta, he assumed that, hey, I'm not going to risk sending out Overlords because there's usually a Void Ray, and the Void Ray is just going to kill them for free. But there was no Void Ray, right? So there was an opportunity there for maybe Solar to scout and get ready, but because of, I guess, the metagame, herO was able to I guess, get away with that and abuse that.
Yeah, mind games, mind games.
Mm.
herO is definitely a master at that. All right, here we are now. Gonna be concluding our best of 5 finals. I'm actually gonna check after the intros what our predictions are looking at, but yeah, whoever bet on whomever, well, it's all up in the air. Anyway, we're gonna be concluding our finals here on Blackburn LE. We're in the bottom right-hand corner map, so I'm gonna go all the way to the bottom right-hand corner. We have a blue Zug player coming down from the land of Korea. He's of course going to be representing KZ Gaming. KZG! He is Sola. Final.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Blackburn LE, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the smiling assassin himself. He brings it all the way to the ace match. This is it. This is the final game of today's tournament. Representing Dragon Phoenix Gaming, it is herO. First things first, Solar. The hell? No gold?
Bitch my head. You deserve to lose now.
Whoa! Shaking my head, mate. Shaking my head. But yeah, so far everything's looking pretty standard. And after seeing these games, like, is there anything you want to see? You know, you've finally seen Glaveadept succeed here from herO. Do you want to see more of that? Do you want to see return to Stargate, return to Skytoss?
So this isn't realistic at all, right? But now that I've seen Glaveadept's work for herO, now I want to see Tempest work.
What is wrong with you?
It's the only way we'll get closure light.
True. Honestly, I was thinking the same thing. I was like, mate, Tempest could find some success, you know, because of the map specifically. Maybe it would force herO to head towards the main base instead of the third, and maybe force him to find more damage. There's a world where maybe Tempest can work. Maybe. Maybe.
You've just been burnt so many times. You're like, no.
Yeah, I just think of Tempest and I just look at the map and I'm like, mate, Solar, he can just send lings and roaches across the map and just end the game, you know? Like, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, ever since Blackburn first was introduced to the map pool, it has been a map for tank pushes, for roach pushes, for gateway pushes, and not much has really changed in all those months. Still really good at all 3 of those.
On the flip side of things, we could see a longer game here. We've seen time and time again the map Blackburn, despite it being so small, and despite it being so condensed and congested, sometimes we can end up in split map scenarios where very easily the map does get split in half, and we do end up in that late game.
Yeah, no, I would actually argue because it's so small and there are so many choke points that it is a little bit more difficult to break a defender, especially when they get really fortified. So, yeah, we do end up in much longer games because of that. But again, it all depends on how our players decide to open up here. Will we see herO and Soul, especially in the late game? I doubt it, but
Yaku, he's listening. Beacon. He's listening to the stream.
All right,
he's listening.
I can dig it.
But Solar scouts because this time he actually makes an Overlord and he actually goes in. Oh my god.
Aye. Void was hunting it, but yeah, it's a little too late for that now.
Yeah, feels bad, man. I was gonna praise Solar because, again, we mentioned it briefly. Like last game, Solar, he didn't Overlord scout at all because he didn't want to lose an Overlord. And this time, it pays off. He actually, despite there actually being a Void Ray this time, he avoids the Void Ray. He gets in, he confirms the Fleet Beacon, and so now he knows everything about what's coming his way.
The beacon's done. Here, herO. Yes! And the Tempests are out. Or the Tempests are on the way.
Let's go. Tempests are on the way. But again, I just worry because Solar saw it. And a fast Fleet Beacon like this, it can only mean one thing. But, ooh, okay. I appreciate this from herO. So, he knows that he got scouted. So, he can't commit. He can't do the same thing that he was going to do. You know, things have changed. His opponent should be prepared. So, he's actually getting ready to switch into Mass Void.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be continuing to produce too many more Tempests here. He's just going to get a handful of them to try to siege down some bases.
Yeah.
The majority of his harassment is going to be with quick Void Rays to dip in, prismatic down to base, dip out.
Yeah. It's one of those things where if this wasn't scouted, I imagine 100% herO would have gotten the Tempest upgrade instead of Flux Veins. But like again, he has to adapt to what his opponent has seen. So sure, he reveals his initial Tempest because he's selling a story. He wants Solar to think that he is making nothing but Tempest, when really he's hard switching into these voids to get ready for those Corruptors.
Indeed he is. Indeed he is. And Solar once again working on that Spire, so yeah, not going to be relying on Hydras or anything. Maybe the Queens, but yeah, the Queens is definitely a lot less maneuverable than Hydras.
Definitely, definitely. Meanwhile, Solar's trying to take that 4th base and trying to get it up and running. herO's being a little bit annoying. Yo, can he get a cancel?
Almost. And I tell you what, if Solar doesn't cancel, there is a very real possibility that he just wastes 300 minerals here.
True. Like, if he doesn't cancel and we're getting Void Rays out, Void Rays, they can fly by and they can snipe it. We've seen that time and time again.
It is so deeply red. Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, but the Void Rays actually trying to go for the main base, and Solar was vigilant.
Wow.
Already had a handful of Queens here to chase them away, but now they're going straight for the gold. Solar, you gotta chase them with your Queens.
Mate, they want it. They want the gold, but the Queens are out of transfused energy. They're low. They only have maybe energy for one more transfuse, but the Void Rays are here. Oh my god.
And the Void Rays fight all of the Queens, kill all the Queens, and now we'll kill the base. That's wasted 300 minerals. There we go.
Wow. Ask and you shall receive. Meanwhile, he has to be careful not to overstay his welcome. The Corruptors are here. They will chase this down. There is the recall. No, the Tempest got left alone.
It's very expensive made. And now Solar's just pushing across the map here, trying to reciprocate the damage, seeing if there's anything he can caustic spray down, and there is a lot that he can caustic spray.
That's the danger here. We have a lot of Corruptors, and you may be wondering, hey, you know, they killed the Tempest. Can they really fight the Void Rays? No, but they don't have to fight the Void Rays. That's why the Void Rays have to be in position, and they are.
So important to have those Void Rays in position, especially when Prismatic Alignment not only negates Flux Veins speed, but also just slows down the Void Rays a ton.
Exactly. That's why it's so important that Flux Veins was researched so the Void Rays can get there in time to activate their Prismatic Alignment, and that's exactly what they were able to do. Something that confused me is, I don't know if you noticed, but the Tectonic Destabilizers or whatever upgrade actually did finish.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Really? In Tectonic?
I
thought they were called like coiled something or whatever.
I don't know, man.
Coiled Tesla I don't know.
Tesla coils, mate. I think that's something else. I think that's a car. But
yeah, Conquer upgrade.
True. So some wasted resources there, especially because we don't have any Tempest. So it was a little bit odd for herO to get that. Regardless, he's still making nothing but Void Rays. We have 2 more Stargates on the way. But Solar, he's getting ready to move out. Queen's starting to waddle. I just don't know if this is really going to work out for him. Like, we have a lot of stacked defense.
We do, and okay. I was going to go into a whole, you can hit a point where Corruptors can overwhelm Void Rays, but we're not at that point yet. So Solar doesn't trade as efficiently as he would like to.
Oh, exactly. But that's also where the queens are going to come into play, right? They have not just added DPS, but they also have the ability to transfuse these corruptors, keep them alive. Meanwhile, corruptors, they're making a beeline for the main base. Yo, if the Void Rays aren't here in time, they can get a Nexus.
Yeah, they can get a Nexus, or they can get these pylons, or more importantly, the Stargates themselves. Okay, almost. He sees all the Void Rays coming down, and I don't think Solar can really fight this. So, okay, now he can. Now Prismatic Alignment has popped.
Yeah, he was trying to kite there, but herO, he was able to hunt a lot of that down. Did force him to pop the Prismatic Alignment. Oh no! This is one Void Ray for free.
Void Rays here, yeah. Hey. Without Prismatic Alignment, this is that point where the Corruptors can overwhelm the Void Rays, especially with some Queens on the ground.
Definitely. Meanwhile, now we have the ground army to support, to try and pull herO apart. We even have a couple of roaches in the gold base. herO, buddy, you need more than just these Void Rays. He knows that he's trying to get a Twilight Council. He wants to get a ground army of his own as well, but he just needs a little bit more time.
Which in this game is on Solar's side.
Really is. Like, Solar is already working on his spores. Hive is on the way. You could argue it's a little bit late, but again, he's been spending a lot of his gas on his army instead.
He really has been, and yeah, I definitely have to agree with you on that one. If he had Vipers out already, Solar would have won the game, but he has been forced to utilize a lot of his gas on Corruptors, on Roaches and whatnot, so yeah, he's gonna have to buy himself a little bit more time.
Exactly. The Hive is still in production. And because of that, herO now has all this breathing room. He can take another base. Mothership's on the way. Charge is about to finish up for those charge lots. Archons as well. Archons change everything when it comes to Corruptor battle.
Yeah, you want to get that AoE so that the Void Rays have a little bit of an easier time cleaning up. But speaking of Void Rays, starting to get backed a little bit into the corner. They already popped their Prismatic Alignment earlier, didn't they?
Oh, true, they did. Regardless, Solar doesn't want to take that fight. Not yet. He's getting these infestors out, but they need more time for energy. They need to gather that energy for those fungals.
Oh yeah, good fungal parabomb combo can absolutely shut down the Void Rays.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised Solar actually didn't get pathogen glands. So because of that, these infestors are going to need even more time to gather that energy.
Well, I guess he wanted to save resources for Vipers. Yeah, he's getting them out now.
Yeah.
Also working on an Ultra Den, just in case there are High Templar, but you and I know better.
Yeah, no High Templar yet. Just Archons. Void Rays are making a beeline for the main base. Meanwhile, the Zealots are going to distract the army of Solar. No, the Corruptors come back to deal with the Zealots, and that opens things up for the Void Rays.
It's a very unfortunate all-army hotkey. Fester's not quite here to nail their fungals, but there's enough anti-air to chase the Void Rays back.
Yeah, the Void Rays are able to get out just in time. Meanwhile, those Zealots are back with a Vengeance hitting that gold base. There are plenty of Roaches here, so the Roaches will eventually clean this up. Meanwhile, Void Rays try to go back into that main.
Bit of a delicate dance here. Well, you know, Sky is a bit of a stalemate. herO looks like he's winning the ground battle, but at the same time, the supply's in favor of Solar, so I'm not entirely sure what's going on there.
Yeah, exactly. Like, these Zealots, they cleaned up all the Lings, they're getting on top of the Queens, and the Queens are so valuable in the late game. They provide so much support for the Corruptors. And now, once again, Corruptors are being forced up. Void Rays? Oh, maybe finally they can get into the main. Oh, no, it's okay, it's okay.
Solar's waiting. Here comes the Parabomb combo.
Oh,
not
recall?
quite. Potentially.
He's going for it.
He's gonna recall. He's going straight for the Hive. He's going straight for the Hive. He's going for the Ultra Cavern, actually. Oh. And this is super dangerous right now. hero's so deep in enemy territory, and yeah, even though he does get the he recalls towards the north, but yeah, the Parabomb actually still lands, so there's still some damage being done there. And sure, Solar might lose his base, but I really think that Solar has enough to fight this if he wanted to.
Recall, buddy, let's go!
If he wanted to.
Yeah, the double recall plays, the Void Rays, they sniped the Ultra Cavern in the middle of getting Kindness Plating, so Kindness Plating was denied. The Mothership recalled them up to snipe another base, and then we had the Nexus recall to get them the hell out of there.
And now Solar can't fight this, not when there's this much static defense on the ground.
Not just that, mate, the Archons are finally out.
Oh,
Let's go.
And getting flashbacks to Heartwire. Once again, Solar doesn't quite have an anti-Archon unit. He will have the potential to get Brute Lords out though. Because thankfully this time he did not neglect the Great Spire.
Yeah, he did not neglect it, but he's neglecting the space. The gold goes down again. Yo, these Void Rays, they've gotten so much, but are they finally going to be shut down? We have a Fungal, does catch one of the Voids. At the same time, Zealots are running in. Uh-oh.
And it's not enough of an anti-ground army yet. The Hive is so low. And it will be taken out.
Oh, the Zealots are running rampant. Meanwhile, the Void Rays, it looks like they're all going to be cleaned up. Finally, Solar gets a little bit of a win here, but was it worth it? Was it worth it? Because the Zealots, they're going to get the Greater Spire! No, not like this! And they got the Hive!
Yeah, well, even if they didn't get the Greater Spire or the Hive, I don't think Solar has enough resources to really get his late game army up and running. He needs to fight right now if he wants to win, and he will get the Mothership. Archons really did a good job of shaving off all the Corruptors, and it is gonna be enough. GG is called. herO finally gets his revenge on Solar. Very well played here.
GG, well played. What a finals, and well-deserved herO, I believe, with his very first ESL Open Cup Asia championship.
Yeah, his first ever ESL Open Cup Asia championship, his second overall ESL Open Cup championship.
Mm-hmm.
He has won ESL a couple of times, but yeah, to beat Solar of all players, who has pretty handily had his number in the past couple of weeks, this is, yeah, a pretty impressive feat from herO.
Exactly. GG, well played. And in what a manner as well, because finally he went to the late game against Solar. I say went to the late game, Solar was still struggling to get there, right? Like, his tech just kept getting sniped. That's the big difference. herO, he never allowed Solar to get Brood Lords, to get a mass amount of Ultras, to get a decent count of Vipers. Like, he was so active with his Void Rays. I think that's the difference between him and Zest. Zest can sometimes be a little bit more passive. Like, Zest focuses a lot more, on like the big picture, the macro big engagements. But herO was all over the place.
Yeah, it's like the big difference where Zest wants to win a handful of big engagements. herO, meanwhile, wants to win a lot of small engagements and have them stack up, and sometimes it works out really well for him. And I gotta tell you, like, now that he's beaten Solar in a PvZ, if I wasn't hyped for herO before, I'm even more hyped for herO now. I'm not sure if I want to go all the way and be like, herO's gonna win Super Tournament, let's go, but I fully believe that another big Premier Championship is on his radar very, very soon. Definitely.
Like, PvZ has been herO's kryptonite ever since coming back from the military. And don't get us wrong, it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy for him to beat Solar.
It went all the way to the ace match here.
Yeah, all the way to the ace match. But this past month, Solar has just been smacking herO down. Like, it's been it hasn't really been close.
Not even close.
Yeah, so it's great to see that herO is still improving a lot. Like, he has been working on his PvZ, on his weaker matchups. And we've seen him stumble a little bit, but we've also seen him excel greatly, and it's great to see him performing well like this. And he is the one that you want to keep an eye on for 2022. Like, we've been losing a lot of Korean Protosses, but we're gaining a lot of good ones as well.
Gaining them back, yeah. There we are. Just quickly want to check his Discord server right now to see if let's see if Kuro is awake and freaking out.
I know Kuro's asleep right now, unfortunately, but I'm sure she's gonna be there to cheer him on when she wakes up. But yeah, wow, what a tournament. I was so my heart sank when we started off with Solar with a 2-0 lead. It's like, oh no.
It's like, oh my god, we really are just gonna have a 3-hour broadcast. But no, we managed to go 3.5 hours. So, la di da.
Yeah, yeah. GG, well played. Like, and the other great thing about it is just, again, that ace match, just the manner in which herO won was something that you want to see, right? You want to see players like out multitasking and pulling their opponent apart, and you know, we've got all these zealot run bys and the void rays are coming in and we've got recalls all over the place.
Yeah, you don't want to have that happen to you while you're playing, but as a viewer, there's no more exciting or active style, in my opinion, in StarCraft 2 than just trying to split your opponent's attention and then hammering all the way in that one moment where they are caught a little bit off guard. Definitely. GG, well played, well deserved, and I hope that this is the first of many victories here for herO. Nothing bad to say about Solar, but again, like, it's great to see a player return to the game and find that success and come back into form, you know, like they used to be back in the day. That indeed. And with that, that's going to conclude ESL Open Cup Asia number 107.
Wow, yeah. GG, well played, and thank you so much, Yaku, for joining me today. We were worried it was going to be a shorter broadcast, and it was. Kind of, like, just under 4 hours. Just under 4 hours.
4 hours is usually the average. I mean, we never actually have a 4-hour broadcast, but it's the average because of how, you know, usually our short broadcasts are long broadcasts, and how it averages out. It's 4 hours, you know? I think. No, actually, I think it would. I don't know math.
All good, mate. All good. And with that, thank you everyone for watching here today. I hope you enjoyed the games. I hope you enjoyed the runs, the run of all of our players, whether it was Oreo to start things off, Beyond, herO, Solar. Yeah, I hope you all enjoyed yourselves. And Yaku, I hope you enjoyed yourself too.
I did.
And we saw a Tempest Open at work.
Definitely did. We did.
Didn't win because of the Tempest.
Yeah, I mean, he won. He went for a Tempest opener, and he won. He didn't necessarily win because of Tempest.
The semantics.
I mean, arguably, he won because he switched out of Tempest opener. It's possible.
Yeah.
So
that's exactly why he won. You're not wrong. Oh god. But yeah, Yaku, why don't you tell the people, what have you been up to this past or this new year? What have you been spending your time with?
Very recently, I have been laughing at how I have not died from the booster shot. I was actually really worried for it, because I remember Ares especially was like, yeah, no, after I got it, like, I got a fever, I got a really bad headache. I'm like, oh, maybe I'm gonna be dead, but no, fine.
Nice. When did you get it?
I got it on Thursday, and I did take like a 1.5 hour nap when I got home after I got that. And that night I slept for, I think, 2 nights in a row. I slept for like 14 hours straight. But yeah, no, other than that, it's like,
yeah,
fine. I'm a little bit slower. My body is a little bit slower, but my mind's still going. My mouth is still moving, and fine.
Your mind's, it's doing its best.
My theory, my theory is that because I have been taking arthritis pills manufactured by Pfizer for years now, I've built up an immunity. So yeah, that's my theory anyway.
Beautiful, mate. Beautiful. It's great to hear that you've got your booster and you're doing well. And I know you also started your new semester, right, at school? Yeah.
I have, yeah. I've had at least one class for each of my main units so far.
Nice.
2 weeks from now is when it's gonna be. Yeah. So it's gonna be a little bit more, intense with the whatchamacallit, the catch-up classes because I skipped the first year.
Yeah. I think that's something that I should touch on, is that because Yaku is going to be actually taking some weekend classes, he will not be available for a couple of ESL Open Cup Asia broadcasts.
I can still do next week.
Mhm.
But a week after next is when it's like,
Yeah.
when I do have to take a step back from casting.
Fair enough. But that doesn't mean we're not going to cover those weeks here on this channel. It does mean that I'm probably going to bring in another co-caster. I'm honestly... I think it's a little bit too late for the Latin Americans and the Americans. But I am going to message Oreo and see if he can pull a pig.
Let's go!
Yeah. And see if he can compete, obviously, in the tournament. And then when he gets knocked out, then he can join me and cast.
I'm excited for that. You know why?
Why?
Because the minute you tell him, yeah, just cast after you get knocked out, that means he's going to win the
Yeah.
whole thing. Yeah, exactly. Okay, that makes me excited.
That's when he's gonna pop off, mate, and I'm gonna die from solo casting. Oh god. Feels bad, man. But yes, look forward to Oreo casting in the coming weeks, at least until Yaku is returned from his school, from his studies, from his university. But yeah, until then, thank you everyone for watching. You know, if you want to tune into more CranKy Ducklings, we're all over the place. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We have our Discord channel, and we also have our YouTube where we've been uploading VODs of all of our casts, and we are catching up.
Nothing makes me more excited, but also more disoriented when I wake up in the morning. I pull up YouTube on my phone, and I'm like, just surrounded by a wall of bots from like a year or so ago. We actually are catching up.
You say a year ago.
May or so or something.
Yeah, currently we are uploading VODs of TSL, the TSL qualifiers, TSL 8, I believe.
There we go.
And
that was the recent one.
That was November.
Yeah, November last year. So yeah, we're basically already caught up.
Yeah, a little bit more than we hit December, and January has been a little bit light when it comes to our casts, so we should catch up in the next month or so. So look forward to that over on our YouTube channel. And with that, thank you everyone for watching. If you want to tune into my stuff, I stream over at light_VIP. I've been streaming a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. It came out less than a week ago. We've been playing a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! We've been having a lot of fun. We've been grinding that ladder.
We've been smack talking our opponents a lot.
Have I?
Way more than when you play StarCraft.
Have I?
I very vividly remember you're like, no, why did I pull this card? I'm dead now. And then you weren't dead, and you were like, oh, this guy's a fucking idiot. Look at you. You could have killed me, but now I'm gonna pull an Uno reverse card.
Well, the thing is, when you play StarCraft, your mind is focused on the game, right?
Right, yeah.
When you're playing Yu-Gi-Oh, your mind is free to wander. Oh god. But yeah, so if you want to tune into that, we've been having fun over on my stream. Yaku also does have a Twitch channel, but he hasn't been streaming recently.
Yeah, no, and I'm not gonna be streaming till probably the end of April.
Yeah, he does have to focus on his studies, so it makes sense. It makes plenty of sense. Regardless, if you want to interact with us outside of just these casts, then check us out on Discord. We are all in our Discord server, so you can interact with us there. And as we head off, thank you so much, Lord Loken, for the gifted subs earlier. We appreciate it. Yes.
So Gemini got a sub, so hopefully that means that we're allowed to whatchamacallit?
Funada him?
Funada you a lot more. So there we go.
Exactly. So we appreciate the support, and we will see you guys next time for our next broadcast. I believe it will be Copa Hyperion. Yes, next weekend. Yes. And fun fact, we haven't announced it yet, but our amateur tournaments are coming back soon. Woo! TM. Soon.
We did just get updated by Hesi2 Pulse that 2 weeks ago they fixed the API. a few days ago, the API broke again. So.
It did. So it won't come back January, our tournaments, but we will come back soon regardless. February confirmed. So stay tuned for us to come back to casting almost every day again.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Well, not me, but
So, yep.
actually.
Thanks everyone for watching. Give love to whoever we raid. I don't know who, but we'll raid someone.
We'll decide. And yeah, before we head off, Nation Wars number 8 did get announced.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody get hyped for that. We are definitely gonna press our Ducklings to try to qualify for that as much as possible. I think there is actually a really good chance of Eric making it to represent Brazil, but yeah, I would be disappointed if, herO doesn't get to represent Australia, for instance.
Yeah, I think Eric is a sure thing for Brazil. I think Ryu is a sure thing for Peru. But
depending if he plays for Italy or if he plays for Peru.
I think it's a sure thing for both. Like, who's another, other than Ryu and Rainer, who's another, like, notable Italian?
Well, that's the thing, because I think, and that's why I think Rio is a shoo-in for Italy.
True.
But for Peru, who knows? Actually, Neo has a pretty good shot of.
Yeah.
Qualify for that.
That's it. Like, Ryu can basically choose. Does he want to represent Italy or Peru?
Exactly, yeah.
Regardless, he will get in. So Ryu's a sure thing. But for
Cat's might try to play Peru.
Does Cat wants Peru to lose? Does he? Oh no! Mate, get Chaos Fate, get Zion's in there. Cats? Oh god.
Well, he's gonna try to play. That doesn't necessarily mean he's gonna make it in.
If you remember,
I think
it's
because I don't think they're doing voting. Are they still voting this time?
Are they changing it?
I have to double check that. I heard that they might change it up, but yeah, that's kind of the thing that I always liked about Nation Wars back when there was 3 slots, right? So you would usually have your 2 big names and then a bit of a wild card, which was the fun thing about voting.
Yeah.
But yeah, now that it's only 2 players per country, it's a little bit more up in the air. It's a little bit more cutthroat, and if they're still doing voting, that still excites me, because that means that we are gonna be able to throw all of our resources on our boys, on our CranKy boys, and be like, "This is why you must vote for so and so." We're gonna have a full-on campaign. We're gonna get ad space. We're gonna force endorsements from NXZ.
I'm gonna have to pay off Pig for Pig to promote herO and Starduck. Let's go.
Yep, exactly.
Oh god. So yes, Nation Wars is on the horizon. Again, it's still not confirmed because they do have a crowdfunding project. So be sure to support Nation Wars and their crowdfunding.
I think they're also gonna have once again the in-game packs that you can buy, but not too sure.
We'll see. We will see. Regardless, there it is. Link is in the chat. And we will see you guys next time. Plenty of StarCraft coming out. Plenty of hype. Plenty of excitement. See you around. Ciao.
See you then. Bella.